Hello, and welcome to another social scene in Gotham by Night. Here we have two beasts in their lair together, discussing what might come to pass. A bit of a round table should Ground Zero happen. So, with Talon and Amber in their brood lair, I suppose we'd be at the Velvet Rose again, because that is this the place where things take place consistently. But we could do it in the hospital or anywhere really, but preferably in the lair and on Talon's side of the lair or Amber's, so that we can say nobody entered. Because if Andrew can say nobody can enter, then we can do the same. There we go. So, I imagine we're sharing a booth. You've got your bottle of whiskey yet again.
Bottle of whiskey, because, I'm a drunk. Not really, but
You're
sometimes.
trying to portray that, apparently, yeah.
I just like my whiskey, okay?
I'm more of a McGilligatty's guy. No.
So good.
Get that butterscotch. Anyway, Talon will actually have a small glass, like a rocks glass, with honestly, probably absinthe or something suitably hard.
You trying to hallucinate?
At any rate, he's sitting at the booth and you've been invited.
I go sit down next to him with my, of course, bottle of whiskey I procured, whatever that word is.
Procured?
Yes,
Oh,
procured
thank you. That was
from the
so
bar.
disgusting. It just snotted on my arm.
Good times. He's just sharing the love. So,
Okay. Well, you can share the love, not the flutes.
fuck's sakes. Stuff. How would he phrases? Some things have come to pass that we need to discuss.
She nods, listening.
Nathaniel and I went for a drive. He made it sound like I might need to choose between him and Creed. And he said that should someone become an enemy of their society, and that enemy were to be aided by someone, they would be guilty by association, or added to the hunt. Like if you were to anger the brood, anybody who helped you apparently would be in another target.
I do understand. I'm still new to everybody.
Okay.
I haven't had much interaction with Nathaniel and Creed, I don't mind. Where do you
I don't mind
stand?
Creed either. He has a habit, clearly, but he's been useful, and he's treated me with respect. Not that the others haven't, it's just Creed's partnership has had concrete benefits recently.
Yeah, he seems rather straightforward. Doesn't seem to care much about his
Condition.
yeah, for lack of better terms.
I mean, we're home. We can speak freely. The burrows have been closed for now.
Right. He doesn't seem like he would be one to turn his back on somebody unless he had a good reason. He's very straightforward. He's very
He said if I needed him, he'd be there. And he was. He taught me a great deal. The information he shared, however, was dangerous. Dangerous enough that I'm still not willing to share it with the rest of you. At least until this blows over.
She nods. She's not one to risk her life over things too easily.
If Creed were to be made an enemy of vampires, what would you do?
It depends. I don't have any stakes in either side. I have been hired by Creed.
Have you now?
Yes.
To what end?
Just gathering intel, of course. What I do.
So you've been hired by Creed and Titus.
Yes. They both hired me for the same thing. I took them both. Figured why not get a few favors.
Have they promised you anything in return? Or is it just favors?
Just a few favors that I can cash in whenever I want.
Would you be opposed to giving Creed refuge? Should his society turn on him? No answer?
I said, oh, sorry, I was muted. I said I would not be opposed, but he wouldn't have many freedoms here if we were to offer him refuge. He would have to understand that it's very conditional.
He would likely be in the forest.
What was that?
He would likely remain in the forest. Oh, pardon me. That's the chamber you haven't seen yet, but it's the farthest away from everyone else.
Right. Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet.
It's from my time among the werewolves.
Gotcha. She'd nod. She'd be like, yes, and I'm sure we can take certain precautions that he doesn't wander too far from the forest.
I can cut it. I can sever it from the rest of the lair for a while. It won't fade anytime soon.
Yeah. I mean, it shouldn't be too much of an issue if you can't find an exit, right?
Just smiles a bit. Indeed. Although, I don't think that's our issue.
The other thing we have to think about is, she says this with a big smirk on her face, our children roaming about.
If the forest is severed, he'll be safe. I'm not entirely sure what this will look like, but there's a storm brewing. And I'm afraid it's not one we can avoid. Or stare in the face of, for that matter.
Agreed.
I don't want you taking any brash actions serving any of our new allies.
I would not put myself or my family on the line for minor details.
We need to be vigilant. Vampires are a cunning, manipulative group. They don't challenge you like a werewolf. They don't even play by their own rules.
Yes, they are very deceitful creatures. Manipulative, controlling. She has like this distaste in her mouth even though she knows that's exactly what she does. She's not actually too fond of what she does.
Fair. If this situation does grow dire,
Yes.
you and Titus are the newest additions to this brood. Andrew wasn't that far behind. You did it again?
Yeah, sorry. Yes. This is a pretty new formed family.
I'm grateful that we were able to make those creatures. But don't think that just solves everything. You were gone a long time.
Correction. You were gone. I was here.
Okay.
She gives you a
said
big
you-
smirk.
You said you were searching the whole time. Why couldn't you leave the city?
Due to my vocation, I couldn't necessarily leave the city. I was always being watched. If I ever left the city, I would be hunted. At least here, those who were my employers would be able to watch me. But of course, none would touch me.
None would touch you. He kind of gets thoughtful, like, If you spent all this time searching for me, what were your intentions once you found me?
I didn't really have any intentions. It was like chasing an old memory. Something that was of simpler times before all of, and she points to the lair, this.
That's not really a luxury I have, but I appreciate the sentiment. So, is that what I am? A memory?
Well, not anymore. You're here.
Indeed.
I'm here. It's no longer a memory, it's reality.
And how would you like to shape reality going forward?
Now, that is not entirely up to me to decide. She kind of looks at you, kind of like, I get what you're saying, but this also isn't a thing that I'm used to talking about.
Hmm. It's a fairly straightforward question. You found me. I'm no longer a memory. Clearly, I'm of use to you, but is that really all there is? The brood certainly has benefits,
Well, of
and
course.
some of those, he gestures towards the hospital burrow,
Mm.
are very tangible and fresh in our minds. So, yeah, some of those are fresh in our minds, but where is this going? Are
She'll
you
sit.
just going to take me away like he did, or disappear if it turns out to be too much for you?
She lets out a laugh at that, like, no, I doubt you could ever be too much. I've dealt with monsters far worse than us. She also sits there, after she says that, she sits there and she ponders a bit, you know, kind of deep in thought.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's looking for an answer. She'll look at you dead in the eyes and tell you that she doesn't know. But she knows, I know that I don't want to lose you again. I don't want to be away from you.
He nods. Takes like a deep draught of his drink. And then pardon me, returns your gesture, so looking at you in the face, and he's like, it's hard to find people you can trust. I hope mine isn't misplaced. Obviously implying that he trusts you, but the way he says it
Right.
still sounds like a dick thing.
Right. She kind of looks down. She knows what she is. She doesn't like it. She then says, I have no reason to use you.
And should one arise?
Should one arise, I would. More like it would be, She's trying to find the right words to tell Talon. Should the need arise, should the need arise for you to use me, as long as it isn't to either detriment, I don't see a problem. It's called help then, not using.
Well put. The feeling is he's still like staring you dead in the face. So it's probably getting awkward after a minute or so. But
I would start kind of nervously smiling.
yeah.
Like, why is this guy staring at me still?
So we'll help each other then. That's it. You don't think someone might come along with a better offer? You don't think, with the Vampire Society potentially turning on our ally, that opportunities won't present themselves? Sounds like you're muted again if you're trying to answer.
I am, sorry. Always freaking muted. I have a kid here, sorry.
It's okay.
She'll look you dead in the eyes with an almost seriousness that you haven't seen before. She's a very happy-go-lucky kind of person anyways, so...
Yeah.
She'll be
He
like...
is asking, like, the question, so...
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said before, I'm not willing to lose you. I'm not leaving you.
He gives you the slow nod. And then the drink disappears. After a moment, he finally says the same to you. That he's not gonna leave you.
She'll go back to her happy-go-lucky style and give a big smile and be like, then we're in agreement.
It would seem so. And you get the feeling he's lightening up a bit. It's just there's a lot going on, and that's just who he is at this point.
Right. She'll feel that. She's gonna try to lighten the mood and be like, so, Tatiana and Patience, who wears it better?
Who wears what better?
Power?
The
The whole essence of them.
Tatiana enjoys authority she hasn't earned. Now that I've spent time around more than a few of their kind. She's always acted with authority, but it's only recently that I've realized she's maybe ill-equipped to deal with those responsibilities. It's not that she doesn't have the best interests of at least herself in mind, if not everybody. And I'm sure she has more than just her own self-interests in mind. she's...
She doesn't know her limits then. She doesn't know where her power ends and she should be scared.
I suppose you could say that. Nathaniel's in a position of power now. And they'll be married soon. If she can't handle a simple raid, what's she gonna do with all the vampire society at her husband's fingertips?
Fingertips, yeah. Ember's eyes get a little big.
He told you not to get that lip surgery.
Anyway,
First day with your new lips.
for her
you're having
pleasure.
trouble.
No.
Oh God.
Okay, moving on.
Oh my goodness.
That
She'll
time
laugh.
of day, apparently.
She'll kind of laugh and just be like, her eyes will get big and she'll be like, oh my God. So Tatiana and Nathaniel, their thing? Because this is the first she's actually hearing of it.
This is correct. He gives you the nod, though. It's Talon, so he just nods again.
She looks like she's pondering things, clearly picturing things in her head. And she just starts busting out laughing.
They're trying something. I'm not sure if it'll be successful. Their kind doesn't feel things like others do. I mean, we even have our hunger, at least, and they have a hunger as well. Perhaps not as intense. Who knows? Unlike us, I know they can lose their temper. I can't imagine what would happen if the new right-hand man lost his temper on his own family.
So then, if we harbor Creed, essentially we will have...
An entire city turned on us.
She kind of cocks her head to the side, cracks her knuckles a little bit. She's not a fighter, clearly, and she's trying her best imitation to look tough and entertained. Sounds like fun.
If this were to pass, we would be enemies of all vampires, including Nathaniel and Tatiana, because they would be more than just putting their lives at stake if they helped us.
She shrugs. She shrugs. She makes it clear she doesn't really have an affinity for vampires. She wasn't one to like them per se. She tolerates them. Even though they are kin.
Yeah.
They're like the distant cousin that annoys her. She just shrugs and says, I don't mind that.
Talon shrugs as well. I had hoped to learn more from Nathaniel, but now I have what I need. He was going to teach me about society and perhaps open a business with me. He's wealthy and invest.
Gotcha.
But that knowledge is no longer restricted. You spent time you spent time in the city, or you spent all this time in the city, rather.
Mhm.
So yeah, Talon just kind of cocks his head. He's like, you spent all this time in the city, so I don't have to learn from Nathaniel.
True. A little bit different, but yes.
I'm not keen on double crossing. I'm sure you understand that we have an agreement with him. But we also have an agreement with Anthony, and we have an agreement loosely with Creed. If things were to pass, we're in agreement that Creed will be offered refuge in this home from the storm brewing outside.
Yes, we are in agreement of that.
I don't know where Anthony stands. I know that he's allied with Nathaniel and Tatiana, but he made his opinion on vampires clear in our meeting. Whether that was just talk remains to be seen.
She'll.
We meet again, but you're probably
Yeah,
getting
yeah, sorry, I was talking to Willie.
No worries.
I don't mind Uncle Anthony. She says, smiling, because she has taken a fondness to Anthony.
Well, you call him Uncle, which nobody else does.
Yes, yes. If he were necessarily going to be completely against us, why would he show us his true form? Or welcome us into his one of many homes.
That's just it. He has many homes.
Yes.
Why would he care about any one of them any more than the others?
Very true.
Showing us his true form. I've already seen it once. That's not... Sorry, twice?
Mm.
When is the dog ask you to?
It's not unreasonable to say that that can double as a threat should the situation change, as I'm hoping it doesn't.
People. What? Sorry.
No
I
worries.
said, of course, but there are always those risks with trusting people. Others.
Why do you think you're the only person I've admitted to trusting?
Very true.
And even that isn't infallible.
Yes. Yeah.
Just
kind
being
of-
a dick over here.
She's you can see there's slight annoyance in her eyes, cause yeah,
The kind of
gotta be careful who you trust. I get it.
You're sitting across the booth from Talon, correct?
I probably sat next to him.
I'll lean his head on your shoulder then. That's not to say it's all bad.
Hold on. Sorry about that.
You fan, it's all good.
Sorry, what'd you do?
Talon leaned on her, like put his head on her shoulder or whatever, and said, "It's not to say it's all bad."
She kind of lets out a sigh, like, he's trying so hard. And just kind of pets your head, plays with your hair a little bit.
Yes, the nightmarish skull leans on the mannequin. She plays with the feathers.
I do play with the feathers with my this disconnected arm.
Good times, good times.
He just like a mannequin's arms, just over there playing with feathers. Have fun.
Are you... You're not interested in pursuing Titus?
No, I'm not interested in having a relationship with Titus.
He actually lightens up a bit. Like, that's good news. And all the dark things that we've been talking about, that's like a little light, I guess. What if I were to make an offer to you?
What kind of offer? She's clearly intrigued.
We've made horror spawn, a twisted, blasted creation, but
Beautiful creatures, you mean? Excuse me, that's my baby.
clearly we can coexist. If you're interested, we can perhaps be more than family. Says the void skull to the mannequin.
Picturing great.
Oh man. You ruffle my feathers just so. No.
Oh my god. That's exactly how I touched the right feather, trust me.
Oh my god.
Correspond went poof.
Wow. Shall we just
Moving on.
You muted. You
I did mute. My kid is kicking me, so.
Oh.
She would think about it for a second. She doesn't want to say no, but she also doesn't want to say yes.
He would pick up on the hesitation. And kind of not stop leaning on your shoulder, but like shift a little, like not even uncomfortably, just kind of like, whoa.
I'm not against it, don't get me wrong.
You tell him to face you.
Sorry, I hear him in the background. She's still looking for words. I'm not against it. Just
Yeah, tell him? Offering something more than family? Like, that's unheard of.
that's pretty heavy stuff. That's like important
Dog
stuff.
needs a bath.
Oh god. Love children.
Clearly.
My own little horror spawn.
Oh man.
Alright, it's not that I'm against it. Don't get the wrong idea there. This is
Considering you.
right. And she'll continue to pet his feather. Not the right one, don't worry.
You've got such a beautiful mane. Please don't hit me. I'm sorry. I said no. You searched me out all these years. You're the only one that has that.
Mhm.
Offer available. Won't ever.
Right? She would nod and be like, I hope you don't take offense to my hesitation, but this is a big decision.
I understand. The Horus Bond were a big decision too.
Yes, yes they were.
Oh.
She kind of just smiles about it.
Another glass reappears. It has like a green liquid, we'll say. And just downs it.
Oof.
Oof, indeed.
Sorry.
No worries. He'll actually walk over and sit on one of the bar stools instead of on the booth.
She'll look over at you. Sorry? She doesn't know what to say to like comfort you or anything like that. She's like, did I just like do something bad?
He doesn't really respond. He just turns on the stool to face her. Like he's sizing her up. Trying to figure out what to make of her in this situation. If shit hits the fan, I can count on you, right?
She nods. She knows Talon doesn't need her to say it verbally.
Mm-hmm. I guess that's good enough. He's actually going to change his clothes to be like if you were to pour a nice dark red wine into a glass, that's the color of his clothes now. Still the same suit and hat and everything, but like, and feathers because they still kind of work actually. But
Right?
but like this dark maroon.
She'll look you up and down, clearly checking you out, of course. Your mirage that I'm sure you're doing this on.
Yeah.
Right? Looks good. I like it.
That's good. This will be the next few days. He kind of like changes it just a bit, so it's not so stuffy. He can move a little more freely in it. It doesn't look as well tailored, but he can move in it.
Right. It's not skinny jeans and a tight top. No, understandably.
Do you have any business you want to bring up?
As of now, I do not.
Then what happens remains to be seen.
Sorry, what was that?
Then what happens remains to be seen, whether or not the court goes for Creed and so on, is what he's referring to.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And we will face it either way together.
He nods like you're maybe throwing him a bone, but like he's not making any assumptions.
Right. She'll probably sit back down next to you, start drinking, probably ensuing some just small talk.
Yeah, just like, you're willing to let a vampire in our home, at my suggestion. Shit might hit the fan and we might have an entire city against us. And you're willing to say we'll face it together, but you're not willing to like like he's like mulling this all over in his head, and you can tell that he just looks kind of lost in thought.
Right. She understands, and she's trying to curve the conversation towards lighter subjects, almost change the topic. She is used to being alone for so long, and the only people that ever wanted her for use. So she's just like, you know, it's a hard pill to swallow kind of deal.
Mm. Is she saying as much?
No, she's not saying as much, but she understands, and like how you feel, like, you know, that you're
Okay.
mulling everything over. And she'll probably pause a few if there's moments of silence and try to explain that to you in the best way she can.
Oh shit, how's that gonna come across? Hey, I'm so used to being used, I just don't want to be used by you, even though we just had that discussion too.
It's hard for her to accept it. Like, it's hard to accept that you don't want to. You know what I
Don't
mean?
want to.
Use her for something. Like, she trusts you. She's taking that.
Yeah, of course.
She doesn't doubt your words, but it's like that nagging in the back of her head, like she does with everybody.
Hmm. Fair enough. We can probably end the scene there.
Yeah, sounds about right. Small talk.
Yeah. We managed to discern who our allies are and where they stand. And Talon got rejected.
Oof. Big oof.
Big oof. Even though he literally just had kids with this lady. Horrible, horrible things, but yeah.
Corresponds, yes.
Oh man, that's all kinds of fucked up. So, that's where I'll end it. That was another scene in Gotham by Night. Thank you for playing. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.